Hi, in this video I'm going to briefly show you how Serial Key Manager Forms works and tell you something about the concept behind it and the way you can get started and create new forms and integrate it into your applications. So basically there are 4 points I would like to mention. First of all, just we're going to look at the concept. The second point is that we're going to try to create a new form. The third point is to look at how we can integrate that form with your application. And the fourth point is simply to show you how this relates to other functionality available in Serial Key Manager Forms. But first of all, I would like to show you this quick slide. So, okay. The question here is basically the following. We have a server, and that's basically the Serial Key Manager server, and we have a computer. But the problem is that Serial Key Manager is actually an online-based validation system. So basically, in order to validate the key, you have to send a request to the server, and then the server will tell you whether the key is valid or not. But if we don't have any access to the internet, which is clearly the case in this scenario, we have to do something else. And there are features currently implemented into Serial Key Manager that help you to do that, but with Serial Key Manager Forms, this will be even easier. And I'm going to show you how. Basically, we introduce another computer, and that computer that we introduce has access to the internet. So that computer would then access Serial Key Manager server, get an activation file, and send that file to the computer that doesn't have any access to the internet. So basically we are kind of activating the computer without access to the internet, but using an activation file. So and the activation itself can be performed from any other computer that has access to the internet. And this is kind of relevant in company or enterprise environment where you have some computers that are don't have any access to the internet and so on. So that's it. Now let's take a look at how this looks like. So if we go to serialkeymanager.com and just going to create a new. So if you go to web forms and then you press activation form, you have the option to create a new form or select an existing one. To create a new form isn't that hard. You fill in some data and you'll be able to create a new form. However, I'm just going to jump directly into a form that I've already created. As you can see, there are some options here. We can choose a product, and a product, if you've used Serial Key Manager before, a product is something that you can create. It is another way of kind of grouping all your projects into different sections or into different projects. So it's kind of like projects or products, no matter, doesn't matter how you want to call it. So for example, I have a software protector here. If you press on software protector, you get the keys that are associated with that project. And so basically, here are my products that I'm currently going to reference. And one thing I'd like to just mention quite briefly is that these have to be public, and there is because of the fact that the way activation forms works. Activation forms use the built-in web API, which you can also use, and that one requires products to be public. So you can actually make sure that no one is able to access this product using the web API by changing the is public parameter. But anyway, briefly, let's take a look what you can do. You can change the header. So so you can change the header, and you have two options here, and basically you should always have the offline key validation set to true. You might ask, why do you have that option available if you always have to have that option to be true? Well, the reason is that if you have offline validation to be false, no activation file is actually going to be generated. So you are going to activate the software, but you're not going to get any activation file, and kind of the purpose of these forms is that you get an activation file that you later can put into a computer that doesn't have access to the internet. But anyway, and then you have the required machine ID parameter, and what it does is that it kind of associates a key with a machine code. And the Serial Key Manager has you can set you can set as many machine codes as you like. You can probably restrict it for 2-3 machines so that people can activate it on 3 machines and so on and so forth. So you can basically customize it. But basically that's it. And if you try to preview the form, you can see I have the machine field available here because I've set that option to be true. Well, if you would have done in the following way, no machine code would be displayed. If you press then get code, you will get some code that you can put directly into your application, and this code will be pre-configured. So you just have to change the file path, and actually your RSA public key will be correct, so you don't have to look it up, and everything should be correct. So that's basically kind of a really short introduction to the way it works. Now I've selected Software Protector, but I can also choose another product. Let's see how this would work. Now that if we put this back to machine code, this is an example product, and I've basically what I've done is I've copied this code here with the, in addition, if you would have chosen machine code here, you would have received some additional code here. Well, so it's kind of clear how this works, I hope. So first of all, you have to generate machine code. So if you would like to restrict the activation file, so you would like to force the activation file to contain the machine code, and again, if you'd like to associate the machine code to a key, you would have to specify this unique key that each computer has. So basically you access this function here and you choose your hashing algorithm. If you would, there is actually support for other algorithms such as SHA-1, which you can also use. Now, so the first thing, now imagine that we pause the applications. The first thing we would like the user to know is this this machine code. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually copy this machine code. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to write line, so I want to write that machine code out. Oh, too quick. So like this. Now we'll get the machine code, and hopefully this will pause. So this is your a kind of a secure. This algorithm is better than the one that I had before here. So now what we can do is we can mark. Of course, you will probably create a Windows application, or so I guess you will not. Oh, wait a minute. We'll have to try to make sure to get a copy of this string. Okay. Okay. Now we've copied it. So as you can see, this is the hash, or the unique hash for this computer. Now we close the application. Now what we can do is that we go into the activation form, which should have been updated by now. And there are two things we actually need in addition to this. We need the key. So basically, you as a software developer will give this key to your user, and the user will then go to this activation form, paste the key, and paste the machine code. And now, as everything worked out as it was supposed to have worked out, we get an activation file. And I would like to just mention here that we can actually go into the advanced settings here and say like this: we restrict this to one machine only. because as you can see now, if you just let's say we change this a bit. This will still work. I mean, we can change and we can activate this as many times we like. I could restrict this, so I could probably say just one machine, and so now it's saved, I guess. Yes, it's saved. And now let's see here. So we say this is the first machine. We activate it, and we can see we have activated the first machine. And now what about if we take the second? And we don't get anything because the key has already been activated on one machine. And that's basically it. So you have quite a lot of control in the control panel. And now, okay, so once this file, so we've generated quite a lot of files, and I think the recent one here, this one, is the one we're supposed to use. So now, as you can see, we can go to the folder, just put it somewhere, activation file, like this. Now, if we, and I would like to, instead of putting the machine code, I'd like to start the key validation module, or key validation. Oh gosh, you have to put it to be static. Yes, okay. Key validation, okay. So now, and I think, yeah, we just change the file path, and of course you can adjust it. You'll see the pattern here, the way it works here. And I would just like to step through this application, just show you what you can get. So if we launch the application, it will take some time because we are calculating the hash. Now we've loaded the file, hopefully. Yes, great, we've loaded the file. Now as you can see, it will validate, and everything is fine. So we've validated the signature and machine code, and then we can check. And in this case, machine code is the similar to the one, or it's the same as the one that the key was activated for. So it kind of checks, is the machine code of this machine the same as the one in the activation file? And in this case, it happens to be the case. And then we can do some stuff. So this was kind of a brief introduction to Serial Key Manager forms, and the reason why it was quite brief is because this functionality and the forms in itself is still a quite new functionality. Will be extended with more features in the nearest future. But the point of this tutorial and the video is to kind of show you that it's possible to have a secure system even if you don't have any access to the internet. I mean, it's possible to keep track of applications that don't have access to the internet, and that's kind of a point for online key validation systems. I mean, using Serial Key Manager, you can validate and instantly see if a key is valid or invalid. You can block the keys, and you don't have to store the password of the generation password in the application. But since we're using public-private cryptography, we're basically, the server signs the activation file, the application, the computer, the computer, the software where no internet access, where there is no internet access, will know that the file hasn't been changed, because it will sign, or it will verify that signature. And if nothing has been changed, everything will work perfectly. So basically, we've talked about this new functionality, and if you would have any feedback on how this can be improved, or if you'd like to have if you would like new forms to be implemented, or if you have any ideas, I would really like to if you would like to send them to me right away, and you can do that by the information provided below this video. So thank you very much, and oh, by the way, the serial key, as you can see on the get code page here, the code, it says you should use SKGL extension, but right now it's not updated yet to make this code work, but it will be done in the nearest time. But anyway, hope everything will work, and if again you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. So have a great day.